Boatworks today is sponsored by Total Boat and Alexseal Yacht Coatings, as well as supported by the generosity from the beautiful folks over on Patreon. Thank you so much. Oh man, now I smudged it. So welcome back everybody, hope you're doing very well. My name is Andy with Boatworks today, and this week we're back on the Bertram, picking up where we left off on this transom. Yeah, it's been a while. Actually, it's been long enough that I kind of forgot where I left off, to be perfectly honest. But let me take another quick look around here and see what we can come up with. All right, so here we are. Just a real quick recap. Let's see, old transom core, plywood, rotten, ripped out. Filled in the holes. These were the old, well, these are still the current holes that this Armstrong bracket is being held on to. Only by 2 bolts at the moment, but anyways, all that green and white patches, that's kind of the temporary covers for the hole, so I can glass over this without having the excess spooge poop out the other end. Now, as far as what I think I need to do, looking at templating for the new coring here, I need to have access so that the new coring can kind of tuck in on that corner as well as inside those corners. Right now, they are somewhat blocked by these stringers. And, well, that just means that, well, these stringers are in my way and they gotta go. One other thing has to go. See all this little bracing here? Well, this is not original, obviously. This is handiwork from the previous owner, or the previous owner's worker, or whoever. G10 held in place by a couple of screws, and my favorite material, 5200. Love that stuff. It's the best stuff in the world. Sarcasm, right? So anywho, in order to make working down here not so cramped, I'm gonna get all this old bracing cut out, and then we'll start digging into shortening these stringers just a wee bit. Let's play a little game called How Long to Trash My Jigsaw Blade. So I ran out of room with the jigsaw being able to get down here, so I got to switch tools. And I'm going to be switching over to this. It's a little oscillating cutter thing. You've seen me use this many, many times. Except this time, what I'm going to be doing that's going to be a little bit different than what I've done in the past. So I remember trying this bad boy out. Let me try it. So this is it's a carbide tipped. I've never used one of these. Carbide tip cutter made by Fine, I guess. But this thing looks pretty badass. Look at how deep these teeth are. Now, I don't know if this thing is just going to skip all around, or if it's actually going to cut like a you-know-what. But we'll find out. But I'm going to be using this to make these last 2 little cuts going down this side, as well as the one behind me. So in all, I'd say that went fairly well. Let me show you. There's a reason why I always say, please don't use 5200 when you're putting stuff together. Even on no. So I'm not quite sure how well any of this came up when I was actually doing the demo, but as you can see here, the 5200 pretty much ripped off, a bit of glass as well as the gel coat that's on here, and well, needless to say, I've got a little bit of repair work to do before I can start going forward with rebuilding the benches and the seats back here. So, but that's going to be a little bit further down the road. Right now, I'm still working on trying to get this transom put back together. And right now, I think the next thing I'm going to be focusing on is cutting back these stringers so that I can get access to the back side up in here on both the port and the starboard side. So let me get the fin multi-master thing set up and get my respirator and start cutting. So now when I'm planning out my cuts here, there are a couple of things I want to keep in mind. First one being, I got to make sure that I leave enough room here so that I have something to tab onto. So I do not want to make my cuts right here. Instead, I'm going to come forward, probably split the difference, probably somewhere like right around here. I'm going to make my cut. Now, I'm not going to be able to get the cutting blade back behind here initially. So what I think I'm going to end up doing is just coming up, cut this corner out, basically remove this face, and just kind of see if that gives me enough room to actually access back in through here. We'll kind of see. What I suspect I'm going to have to do then is, after this face is removed, then come in and actually cut the back side and cut that out. But we shall see. One step at a time. I'm going to try and do as little cutting as possible, but I still got to open it up enough to actually have access to do what I need to do. So first cut's going to come right down through here, and then right along the top into the transom. Then, well, I got to remove all of this. That actually went really well. I'm happy with how this turned out. One thing I will say is that new cutting blade that I got, where is it? This thing. This little joker right here, this thing is no joke. So with the glass that I cut through, which was about a ½ inch thick all the way around, so a fair amount of glass that I cut through, that thing has still got as much bite now as it did when I first took it out of the box. If I had taken that and compare that to, say, like the old high-speed steel blades that I used to use, because this is the first time that I actually sucked it up and actually ordered this thing, because it's $60. But if comparing this one to the old high-speed steel ones, if I were using those on this, I would have gone through at least 2 blades, and to be honest, I would probably still be cutting on the first stringer. This thing was just so much faster, and it's going to last 10 times longer than those other ones. So it may suck to order it at first, buy once, cry once, but it is money well spent. Going to give you another look at the different perspective here. So this side, I actually have I cut it back far enough where I actually have clearance to just do a full set in with the new coring, at least the initial layer that's going to be going in this main recessed area right now, or right here. Now over on the port side, I think I still have a little bit of trimming left to do right here, but that's easy enough. But all in all, very, very happy. And at least for right now, I don't have to, well, at least for right now, I don't have to cut back or cut off this back part of the stringer. Not yet. I may still end up having to do it because when I'm laying in the coring in here, at least the new coring, I want to expand it. I want to have it larger than just this area right through here. I actually want to expand it out. So in order for that to happen, I think I'm going to end up having to cut this out, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. It's, you know, this cutter, it's easy enough to remove that material if I have to, kind of last minute. So for right now, I am going to start getting the material prepped for making the templates here. I've done templating like this before when I was doing a teak deck. If I remember it, I'll put a little pop-up window either down in the description or somewhere up in here, wherever it comes, I don't know. If you wanted to see that, totally unrelated to replacing a transom, but very similar process, and it's a very, very slick way for getting an exact template of a fairly large area for cutting out your new material. So let me start getting that material prepped, and yeah, keep on plugging away. So for the templating material, I'm going to be using, I think it's basically referred to as like door skin, but it's like 16th inch plywood, like really, really cheap plywood. I wish it were a little bit thicker, something a little bit closer to like 1/8 of an inch, but well, this is what I've got. So it'll work just fine. It would be nice if it had a little bit more rigidity to it, but this will work. I've got my fence set to 3 inches wide. So so each of these strips I'm going to be ripping out are going to be 3 inches. And if I did my math right, and if this panel is actually 4 feet wide, I should get about 16 strips out of this. So. So with all the strips cut, now we're actually ready to start the actual templating process. But that being what it is, I guess I want to make sure that I cover that in enough detail so that somebody watching this down the road can actually figure out how to do it for their own project. So I think for right now, this is going to be a good ending spot for this week. So as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please hit that thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Thank you in advance. I appreciate it very much. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave those down below, and I'll do my best to get back with you. And as always, thank you for your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.